Hi, I'm Harish Gureti and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about AWS migration, and I was thinking, what do we start with when we on the topic of AWS migration? And the first thing that came to my mind is to explain why do even businesses consider AWS, or for that matter any cloud, but specifically AWS, because AWS is the first cloud provider. If you're not aware, AWS started in 2006 and other cloud providers followed later. So why do businesses even consider migrating their workloads to AWS? So that's the topic for today. I want to make sure we understand, we are all on the same page before we go deep dive into AWS migration topics. First, to understand why businesses even migrate their workloads to AWS. So let's get started. So here are the five reasons that any business considers migrating their workloads to AWS. The first one is cost savings, the total cost of ownership. Second one is staff productivity, and third one is operational resilience, business agility, and finally sustainability. So in the AWS cloud value framework, these are the five areas that they identified on why businesses migrate to AWS, and I just want to share them here. So cost savings, staff productivity, operational resilience, business agility, sustainability. So these are the five values, reasons that businesses consider migrating their workloads to AWS. So let's dive into each one of them. Cost savings. So cost savings is nothing but infrastructure cost savings, if versus avoidance from moving to the cloud. So what it basically means is, well, how much will you save moving to the cloud versus if we are doing the same thing on premise, or that is what it is. So for example, if you're decommissioning 10 servers in your data center that are underutilized, and move those workloads to 5 servers on AWS that are optimally that run at optimal capacity, how much are you going to save, right? So I'm sure you're going to save a lot. So these are the kind of examples in terms of cost savings that businesses consider. When you run something in a data center, you have the cooling, you have to pay for the electricity, racks, pretty much a lot of stuff. So when you move to the AWS cloud, all those costs will go away. So that's the cost savings aspect of it. Now let's jump to the next one, which is staff productivity. So what basically staff productivity means is efficiency improvement by function on a task by task basis. And let me explain with an example. In AWS, there is something called CloudFormation, which allows you to provision you basically code your entire infrastructure, and you can provision it by running that CloudFormation template. So when you automate the entire provisioning versus manually provisioning the environment, you're going to save significant amount of time. What that basically, you can basically eliminate the task, and what that really means is you can repurpose your staff, your team, on much more strategic activities than actually spinning off VMs, setting up network subnets, the firewall rules, and all of that stuff. So you don't have to do any of those things. Those tasks, those functions get, you don't need to run those tasks at all, so that your staff, your team can focus on much more strategic activities that deliver more business value than just running or spinning up a VM. So that's staff productivity. And the next one is operational resilience. Is basically how, improving your SLAs and reducing unplanned outage. Let's just say if you have an in-house server or in-house servers, and you have an outage, then you have to open a support ticket with that person. They'll come in, they'll replace, probably give you a temporary server, or stuff like that. Then you have to move the data. So the whole downtime aspect is significant when compared to AWS. With AWS, you have every AWS region has at least 3 availability zones, so that your workloads are mostly, always available. Of course, Every service in AWS has their own availability metrics, but most of the time they are available. So the operational resilience aspect is huge, because your SLAs to your customers, you can maintain better SLAs with your customers, and also you won't have unplanned. You can reduce the unplanned outage significantly. So that's operational resilience. Then you have business agility. What business agility really means is deploying new features or applications faster and reducing errors. So the benchmark really is 43% reduction in time to market for new application features. So imagine this: if you have your own environment in your data center, then what, let's say VMs, then what you have to do is you have to test it. You have to then again you have to deploy again a new environment, and then again test it on that. So all of that stuff is really difficult when you're doing it on premise. But with cloud, there are so many services that are available in AWS that will accelerate your deployment of new features and applications. So that's and also you can reduce your errors because you can run continuous testing and all of those aspects of it. So business agility is significant value, also when you migrate to AWS. Finally, we have sustainability. It's a big thing at this time, with various things in around the world, basically minimizing environmental impact of operations. So if you are running your own data center, or renting your data center space, all of that, the carbon footprint is huge with AWS. What companies like AWS, which who are pretty big, they focus on really running their operations on sustainably, right? So there is, again, if you are familiar with Formula One, there's a huge initiative in Formula One as well called Net Zero by 2030. So this Net Zero by 2030 is an initiative by multiple big organizations. So in Formula One, obviously, it's cars, so they burn a lot of fuel, so causing and also the logistics is huge. So they are also trying to do the same thing, go net zero by 2030. Same thing with AWS. And what I understand, or what I know, is they are ahead of schedule, and I believe by 2025 or 26 they are going to be fully running on sustainable fuels. So that is really the sustainability aspect. So when you move to the AWS, you basically are contributing to the environment. I mean, because AWS does it, so indirectly your business is contributing as well. So these are the five value areas, the reasons why businesses move. But the impact of each of these things is a little different. So the next slide is really talking about the business impact. So cost saving staff. So all the five reasons. The cost savings is really the tactical impact. Basically, you get the savings immediately, right? Whereas the staff productivity, operational resilience, business agility, and sustainability, these have a strategic impact on your business. So you may not see it on day one, but you will definitely see significant value or impact from these the other four things over a period of time, if you do the migration, if you get the migration done properly. So this really is about AWS migration introduction. So why do businesses really migrate to AWS? I hope this video is useful for you. So do subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to post a lot of content on AWS migration, well-articulated framework, and also really around all the tools and management and governance tools. So I hope this video is useful. Subscribe to this channel, and thanks for watching.